Welcome to writinglong.com. Today's episode is all about not learning from famous writers. And I don't mean don't respect them. I don't mean that they don't have something to share, something to say. I mean, don't think that's the premise. Don't think that's their um, kind of marker of credibility as far as, I should write like them. I should take on what they say. Because, again, a lot of writing advice is often, it's clouded by very subtle nuances that, while they may seem like anybody can just copy, anybody can do, it seems easy. You may find there's a writer you really like, and you may have tried to write in their style, and what happens? It's like you hit a wall. Like something's not working, and you might wonder, like, what the, like this. I read this author, I know what they're doing. I see it. I even know the very specific things I appreciate about how they write, but when I try to do it, this famous author, when I try to write like them, it's not working out. And this actually does apply to all authors, but I say famous authors because they're more apparent. The faces are more seen, and you're more likely to just kind of be attracted to and try to find a way to make that style your own, to take whatever they have to say and say it the same way. But the fact is, there's too many subtle differences between you and them. It's not the obvious ones. I mean, you share their DNA for the most part. There's tiny differences. We're all humans, but be aware that you can't be that writer. You never can be them. And you, as a writer, really have to realize this for yourself and understand that in order to effectively and really just as a whole learn writing, the answers are within you, not in a vague, abstract way, like not in a hopeful way, like, oh, no, I just got to meditate on writing for 10 years, 20 years. Well, okay, it's in me, but again, the question raises, well, how do I find it then? It's not. There's no separation between yourself, like becoming more clear and understanding of your own thoughts and your own process and your own writing. They're tied. Writing, I like to see it as a conversation with yourself that you kind of get down on the page. You hear what your writer self is saying to you, and it's within you. You got to listen to it a bit more. It won't always be clear. Sometimes you find that you talk over your own dialogue, the stuff that you can't write down because it's just chaotic, it's just crazy. That's all the nonsense. Sometimes you try to write, and especially if you're coming at it from this, just trying to learn directly from some teachings that aren't helping you find it within yourself, they will leave you at a place. It's like a drop-off point. Like, okay, good luck, and you will find out. Everything that comes at you is chaos. It doesn't really have a sense of direction or order. It technically makes sense. I mean, what you're writing, it's words that are on the page, but what's wrong with them? It's a little sad sometimes. Like, well, what's wrong with my writing? It doesn't work. It's not what I wanted to be. And I would not be making a video on this if this wasn't a problem people have every single day. It's something people think about. Otherwise, everyone would write a book, right? Everybody would just be okay. They wouldn't need any writing advice. And there are certain absolutes to writing, but again, it's finding them. And I really think you can find them by realizing that chaos that's coming out of you on the page, that's not your writer self. That's just the frontal aspect of your brain, of your identity, of how you see yourself. I'll do a video eventually, an episode just on writing and identity, but specifically here, you got to understand, your thoughts are in a disarray all the time. I mean, you can jump from one thing to the next. To some people, this varies. This really does vary. Some people really struggle with focus, and their mind may go from one place to another, and it's kind of hard to stick to anything, to find anything consistent. And it's just kind of, it's annoying. Some people have laser focus, and when they set their minds to something, they do it. It doesn't always feel great. I mean, it's not always easy to, but they do it. But that's that variation there. And again, you got to realize when you're writing and you see that kind of, it's a reflection of your mind. You want to cut past that because you can't exactly cure yourself of your own thought processes as a whole. You can change certain ones, see the world a little differently. It's not so bad. Maybe everything's not attacking. Maybe you're not the victim in your life for everything. That kind of stuff is really transformational, but it's a lot of work, right? It's stuff that takes like lifetimes. It's a journey in and of itself. So I want you to know that you don't have to solve everything about yourself. Start writing now. Start writing today. Sometimes it's that relation between that chaos, between what you're trying to aspire towards in yourself, and also what's being spoken from that, what I call writer self, writing side within you. That interweaving, that interconnectedness is going to define a lot of your style and how you learn writing and how you find those answers. You're going to learn to listen a little more to this writer self, which was probably awoken by books you've read. I don't know many writers who've just got it straight into it without at least liking some authors. If you're one of those, let me know. Like, shoot me an email or something. I'd be really curious to hear about your background if you were never interested in books at all and just started writing. Like, not even one author, not even one short story or something. But again, most people, it gets awoken from somewhere. Like, someone tells them, or they find it, they try writing, and it means something. It's something you want to pursue, and you can't postpone it. You don't have to think that it's never going to happen, that these answers that supposedly within you, go this route. I really recommend you go this route as a writer. You'll save yourself a lot of time, and a lot of the answers you don't have to depend on them. You don't have to seek them out. You don't have to write them on a sticky note. It just becomes ingrained within you. Have more conversations with yourself. Realize what about yourself you would like to change. It doesn't have to be profound. It doesn't have to be super deep, or it could be. And that helps if it is, but it doesn't have to be. Just even the small observations, the perceptions. If you were to look at yourself outside, how would you describe yourself? And if you were to look at yourself from the outside again, what would you change? It doesn't have to just be, physically. Just in general, about the way you act, the way you interact. Maybe whether how much you can focus, whether how much you can't focus. Those kinds of things, that interrelation. And I really suggest you write about it. If there's anything more local, if there's anything more closer to you, then it's yourself, it's your flesh, it's your body, it's your own mind. And you'll see that once you kind of establish that dialogue, sometimes you'll realize that writing it's always kind of writing about yourself. And skilled writing, good writing, whatever you want to call it, doesn't mean they went to school for this much longer than you did, and they took all these writing university courses. Like, it's not that kind of stuff. It's how much do they know themselves, not how much have they solved, not how much have they fixed. Especially writers, you got a lot of stuff going on up there. It's not always easy. It's kind of chaotic sometimes. That doesn't mean it's just depressing, but like I don't. It could be, but I don't mean it's just that. But very active mind. Where do you even find footing? Like, where do you finally relax? Where do you finally sit down and say, okay, this is me? You never really get there fully again. But that process of being there, of getting there, that defines a lot of your writing and how you learn it. That's exactly how you understand how to use this, how to use that. It's not like just a bunch of tips you got to memorize at all. It's things that trigger in your mind. Oh, that makes sense. Like, why didn't I see that before? Is it really that simple? It has to be. Most answers to things are quite simple. At least the fundamental concepts of them are. Sure, with writing, I can get into the neurological aspect all day about it. How this part of your brain corresponds with your hand when you're typing or free writing. This kind of interconnection plays with your perception. Like, you can go forever on that stuff. But the fundamental idea of it, you're writing about what you see, about what you know, what perceptions, what your observations are. All of this. That's all writing is. And if you just try to go at the page, just blindly following like some random piece of advice a famous writer gave, and you don't know the context, you don't know what other things they were saying around it, it's not always going to be helpful. It's just not. If it's giving you specific, like step by step, like that's exactly like militant, you have to do that. That stuff doesn't work. It's then you get to the page and you just find chaos because you're not getting through to your writer self at all. You're getting through to the, think of this. Picture the part of yourself that makes decisions. Do you always make the best decisions? Are you always making them? Or every once in a while, one kind of doesn't work out. Or maybe you have you can't decide on one thing and you have all these things pulling at you. And you go here, you go there, you go there. Your mind is zigzagging. There's something in you that has a centrality to it. It has a centrifugal force, like something in the middle, a center. And it's consistent. And that's writing as a whole. That's what writing is. Your relation to that is going to dictate everything about how you are as a writer. You want to let that speak. You want to listen more to that, not just the chaos in your mind. And you'll never let it fully speak. I mean, you can, if you did, I don't know what it'd look like. I guess if you want to get to the extreme purity of whatever writing could be, it might not even resemble yourself. It could probably lose your mind if you really absorb yourself into that. But it's not that it's a fine line to straddle, but it's just something to be aware of, that you never can get there. I don't think anybody can really let writing speak fully through them. It's that interplay. It's this wanting to bring order to something. It's this wanting to bring chaos to it. And it doesn't matter your spiritual understanding of the world or whatever understanding of the world you have. I don't know what it is, and neither am I here to disrespect or disparage it at all. It's not really relevant. This is more accessible. This is more, you can relate it to it. You can relate it to the way you see the world. What is order? What is chaos? But understand that connection is what unlocks all those writing answers between you and yourself. You'll find them there. You will find them there. Check out How to Write a Book in 30 Days. It is a 10-part guide on my website at writingalong.com. It's all stuff you don't normally really hear about writing a book, what it kind of takes. It's a lot simpler than you think. And the same kind of similar principles, lighting those parts of your brain up for yourself, in yourself, so you can understand. And when you come to self-realizations, no one can really take those away from you. Thanks for tuning into this episode, and I'll see you around.